Welcome friends to a review on the 2023 Porsche Cayman GT4 RS, and a special thank you to HBi Auto in Mocksville, North Carolina for providing me with this opportunity. This dealership specializes in Porsche vehicles, but they also have lots of other exotic and luxury cars here for sale. They also service these vehicles, and they even have a certified XPEL detail center as well, so you can check all of that out in the description box below. And regarding the price of this GT4 RS, this dealership is charging $209,900. The original MSRP price is $204,000, so really not bad compared to other dealerships charging ridiculous markups. This is only $6,000 over sticker for a Wysock package GT4 RS. And if you're interested, this dealership can ship nationwide. And many people say that this is one of the best Porsche vehicles made, so we'll get this out on the road and we'll find out. And this vehicle, powered by the 4-liter flat 6 engine, it produces 493 horsepower and 331 pounds-feet of torque. But we know at this point, yes, these vehicles have modest, humble specs on paper, but we know this is going to be an animal out on the street. And I think Porsche claims that the 0 to 60 on this is about 3.2 seconds, and it weighs a little over 3,200 pounds. So let's get this out on the road and see how it does. Once again, what really impresses me about this car is it's so surprisingly well dampened out on the road. This is an RS. I really thought that this was going to shatter my spinal cord, and it's totally not doing that. I don't know how this company does it with the suspension. It's really ridiculous how well these vehicles ride, and nobody talks about that in the reviews. They just go straight to just hooning it on some track, which is fine. But I think some people are going to be interested in the daily drivability of these vehicles, because some people, they just buy it and they just put it around, take it to Cars and Coffee, which is fine, you know, use it however you want, but you will be shocked just how well this vehicle rides. All right, turn it in here. That's like half throttle, and it's making all kinds of like I don't even know how to describe it, just weird little whooshing effects. It's an intake sound unlike any vehicle I have ever experienced in my life. Like, for that alone, this car might be worth the money. And right now, I don't even have the exhaust open with this vehicle, so we're just putting it around at the absolute most normal setting. All right, so with the exhaust button on, I'm just going to floor it. Car is ballistically quick, but it's not just how quick this car is. You know, this car is always working with you, but it just feels so visceral and raw. It just feels dangerous somehow, even though it's not. And the brakes are phenomenal, as one would expect out of a GT4 RS. And this PDK, it's really smooth, actually. When you're just tipping into the throttle, just doing everyday regular drives, this is good and smooth. But when you're also driving it like a lunatic, it responds lightning quick. And I'll just play with the paddle shifters here. Man, this is such a riot, this car. And by the way, they actually shortened the gearing on the PDKs. So a lot of people complain about the tall gearing, but this one has slightly shorter gears here. So that's also going to satisfy a lot of people. This is a better driving experience than the Z06 I just got out of. And I would even say this is a better driving experience than the regular GT3 991.2 that I compared that Z06 with. I'll have a link to that video down below. It's just that intake noise, like, what did they even do to that? It's just, the nuttiest sound, and it's right next to your ear, unlike the 911 stuff. And of course, I have not tried the GT3 RSs. I'm sure that's also a great experience, but the Cayman is special because it's truly mid-engine, and the intake box and everything, the way they have it tuned, it's right next to your ear. So this is an experience that you're simply not going to get with any other vehicle in its class, or even beyond its class, honestly. All right, so right now I have everything in its sportiest setting, the suspension, the PDK Sport, exhaust, all of that. So let's just step on it one more time. Truly a very special and intoxicating noise. I know I keep talking about the noise, but we already know how well these vehicles handle, and it's really telepathic in the way that it communicates with you. The steering is brilliant. You actually feel the textures of the road. Yes, it's hugging the road perfectly, and we do have the Cup 2 tires on here. Obviously, it's like a compromised tire for the street. You have to get it up to the temperature, and it's not even a real track tire, but whatever. You can just get rid of those if you decide to buy this vehicle. But yeah, the noise really is something to behold, and that's why so many people rave on it. And a lot of people, a lot of like publications, car magazines, etc., they do hype up a lot of vehicles, but this is one of the few cars that it deserves all the hype and the praise that it gets. So with that established, let's go ahead and park this vehicle and talk about the interior space. All right, now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior space. First of all, we got to talk about the carbon bucket seats. This is the WISOC package, as you can see by the headrest. And I have to say, these seats are actually decently comfortable for what it is. It's a firm seat, but it's comfortable in the same way that a firm mattress would be comfortable. The only downside to these seats is going to be this super aggressive bolster here. It's just a pain to get in and out of this vehicle, but once you're inside of the bucket, this is decent. At first, I was in the camp that if I were to get one of these, even these aggressive Porsches, I would have gone with the 18-way adjustable seats, but after experiencing this, the only issue I have is getting in and out. Otherwise, no issues. Plus, they do look amazing as well. And we do have the red seat belts here. Alcantara on the steering wheel. And the door panel here, it also has Alcantara finish and the little red strap here. This is your door handle. You actually pull on this to get out of the vehicle as well. And you have a bit of carbon fiber here, kind of a matte carbon. And the solidity of this cabin is legit. All of these Porsches, they have such solid cabins. I absolutely love it. Everything from the door panel, these little switches. Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but man, very tactile, sturdy buttons and switches throughout this entire cabin. All right. Now I will step inside and demonstrate for you. Well, actually, before I do, here's the GT4 RS logo in yellow with the carbon fiber little kick plate. All right, getting inside. I am 5'11". Not too bad. Again, once I'm in here, I'm comfortable. Close this door. And again, the sturdiness of this cabin. We have Alcantara all on the front dash here. Feels great. Have some leather on this upper door trim. There's your manual and your books in there. And one thing that's really interesting about the Cayman is this is that previous generation Porsche interior with the physical, tactile buttons and switches. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate this. So this is where you access your PDK Sport for your transmission, your dampers, your exhaust button. All of this is physical, so that's great. Steering wheel here, Yeah, Alcantara, it feels great to grip onto it when it's new, but like many people say, it doesn't necessarily wear out the best, but I guess you can just refurbish this in time. Anyway, no buttons in the steering wheel, very focused. Love the paddle shifters here as well. Has a nice click. Got your automatic headlights, and you genuinely have to put the key inside of the ignition. So it's your key right here. Put it in. I won't start up the engine. I just want to show you the analog gauges. Still quick to respond, no problems here. This is identical to the 991.2 GT3 that I recently reviewed. Same exact infotainment system, no issues with the way that it functions. You have your Sport Chrono clock up there. This looks like a manual shifter, but it's not. You have a regular backup camera. And you need that in this vehicle because the blind spots are awful. And there you go, a little WYSOC RS badge on top of the glove box. We also have the optional Bose audio system. Of course, this being the GT4 RS, there is no option to get the Burmester audio. That's not the purpose of these vehicles, but you do get the Bose, and it sounds decent for what it is. Gets the job done. Got the fire extinguisher there. And here's the highlight. That's the engine. We have the exposed engine for the GT4 RS. And as you can see, we have the carbon fiber intake ports. The induction sound on this is absolutely wild and nuts. Right next to your ear, this is an intoxicating noise unlike anything I've experienced in any vehicle. But as you can see, the blind spot is a pain when you look behind, and that spoiler takes up a lot of your visibility as well. But who cares? Just keeping it real, who really cares? It's another look there at the intake, but yeah, unlike the 911s, there are no rear seats. You just get what you get, but you do have two trunks, unlike the 911. So let's get outside and let's check out the trunk space. This is your swan neck spoiler, literally a dining table on the back of this little Cayman. I mean, this doesn't even look like a Cayman anymore. It looks so wild. Anyway, it's a better look at the exposed engine. So that's effectively your trunk. With the regular Caymans, of course, they're a bit more practical. You can even use that as an additional shelf space because the engine would have been covered up with some carpeting, but oh well, that's worth it. Let's move on to the front trunk now. With the WYSOC package, you do get the exposed carbon fiber, and there is a little latch here. You have to undo that first before opening the trunk, but there you go. A usable front trunk space as well with these vehicles. Surprisingly, a decent daily driver. I mean, again, the thing that blew me away is just how decent this car rides. So let's go ahead and let's conclude this review now. Well, as you can see by my goofy reactions, I am a huge fan of driving this GT4 RS, but I knew the induction sound was going to be radical. But what really threw me off and what truly impressed me is this vehicle's ride quality. I actually drove this car back to back with a 2024 911 Carrera 4S, and I kid you not, both of these vehicles are very close in its ride quality. I was shocked by that. I don't know what kind of witchcraft Porsche is doing with the suspension of these products. I thought at least the RS car would shatter my spine, and it totally didn't. Another big surprise was the carbon bucket seats. Obviously, I didn't do like a cross-country road trip in this car, but the carbon buckets, that was also surprisingly comfortable. It was firm, but supportive and comfortable. The only drawback is just getting in and out. That was a struggle even for me. It's just getting over that bolster. That's the only issue. But other than that, truly a livable package. And if you ditch those Cup 2 tires and put some regular summer tires on this vehicle with a softer compound, this vehicle is going to be quieter and slightly more comfortable than what I experienced here. Now, is this car worth over $200,000? Absolutely. This vehicle, it gets the Meyn Motor Group seal of approval. One of my most favorite vehicles I have ever tested. Top tier. I might even say this is one of the best cars I've ever driven. It just does everything so well. I truly have no real complaints for this. I mean, what can I say? The thing rides decent, sounds incredible, it's fast, really pins you into the seat, and the thing has 2 trunks. It's practical. The only thing is you just have to get over the fact that this is a Cayman, right? It's not the 911, but even from the looks department, the RS looks so mental that in my mind, I can't even classify this as some regular pedestrian Cayman. This has morphed into something completely different. So I'm fine with the fact that this is a Cayman. I don't necessarily need to upgrade to a 911 just to have that body style. This looks cool as it is, in my personal opinion. And mind you, I have not tried a 911 GT3 RS. I've only driven the regular GT3, both on the track and on the street. That 991.2 GT3, that's got nothing on this GT4 RS. It's not even close. Even the Z06 C8 Corvette was not as exciting, in my opinion, compared to this GT4 RS. There was a gentleman that I met at this dealership. I believe he was one of the Porsche techs, and he was telling me that he actually prefers the GT3 RS. It was one of the 991 generation cars. I get it. I'm sure that's going to be an epic driving experience, and the 911 GT3 RSs weigh about 100 pounds less than even this Cayman. So that is shocking, but does it have the same nutty induction sound? I highly doubt it. But much like you, I am also a consumer, and I also like to see what is the best bang for my buck, especially in this ridiculous market with high interest rates and all of that. For 200 grand, I think I would still choose the GT4 RS simply because this is a new car. Like literally, it's brand new. Whereas for 200 grand, you're gonna end up getting a 2016 or a 2019 GT3 RS. So clearly it's older and it's gonna have more miles than this GT4 RS. The only other truly special cars that I can think of for around this price category is gonna be the Ferrari stuff. I remember driving a 488, and that vehicle, it turned me into a Ferrari fanboy. That was one of the most exquisite and one of the most perfect driving experiences I've had. I love the way Ferrari tunes and calibrates their cars, both in terms of chassis and the powertrain. So I would be interested in owning like a V12 naturally aspirated Ferrari, but for around 200 grand, that's gonna be stuff like the GTC4 Lusso, which is essentially a 2-door hearse. It's a very weird looking car in my opinion. It's one of those GT touring cars, whereas this is a proper sports car and lightweight. So I think all things considered, I think for 200 grand or close to it, I think the GT4 RS is the way to go. And once again, if you're interested in purchasing this vehicle, you can certainly hit up HBi Auto in Mocksville, North Carolina. They have dropped the price of this car to $209,900. So it's only about 6 grand over the original MSRP price. That's very reasonable in today's market, considering this is the Weissach package. The only thing this car is missing is the magnesium wheels, which would have shed about 22 pounds in rotational mass, but oh well, this car drives fine, exactly the way it is. So once again, HBi Auto's information will be down in the description box, and they are able to ship nationwide. But thank you again for watching this review. Take care and goodbye.